Welcome to my podcast, guys. If you are here to work on your relationship with your child, then you are for sure in the right space because you will always have to work on your relationship with yourself. And this is what I offer here on my podcast. So if you listen to my podcast and hear things that are not obviously related to your son, listen on, because whatever you improve in your relationship with yourself will automatically improve all of your relationships, including with your son. So welcome and enjoy. Hey guys, how are you? How's your week going? Today I want to address something that we all have in our heads about the others have it figured out. I mean, I have suffered from this belief many different times, and I really want to give this little present to you today and to tell you that nobody else has it figured out. And here's why. And especially with me being in this position as a life coach on the podcast and you're listening to me, you might be tempted to think that I have figured it all out, right? I don't. And when we think that others have it figured out, what we're thinking is that we don't have it figured out. And that can cause a lot of pain and despair and shame and just guilt and just feeling not good enough and feeling something's wrong with you and feeling completely helpless and hopeless. And I want to tell you that I feel like that regularly. And I feel like that regularly because of what my default brain is feeding me. It's feeding me just complete garbage, useless thoughts that I have to be on top of, okay? And what gave me an idea is to record this podcast for you is that I was doing my own coaching. I was coaching myself. And the thoughts that I was thinking about myself were completely just shocking, I would say. Like, why would someone think that about themselves? And I looked at them and I thought, holy crap, and the desire. So I looked at all these thoughts. They were just such bad opinions of myself but just there by default. And I thought that I'm a mess. After I looked at them, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm such a mess. And my first urge was to hide it all. I wanted to hide it all. And I wanted to make it mean that I'm not a good enough life coach. And because I'm such a mess and nobody should see this stuff. And if they saw this stuff, they would for sure not like me or want to listen to me. And this is where the coaching part came in. I didn't even have to coach myself because I wrote down those thoughts on paper. I could look at them from outside of my brain. And I had this aha moment where I realized these are just thoughts, right? That are not true. And I didn't even put them there. They're just something that we've learned based on I've learned in my life. I don't even know, our default brain does not think nice things about ourselves. I don't know why that is. It's just the most ridiculous. I think that's why, is because we have to evolve beyond the default brain. That's why it's a challenge for us to live the life that we want, because our default brain is just not feeding us good things. It's like the software is installed there. It's not nice. Okay. So here's a couple of the thoughts that I just had in my brain. And it's not like I just had them in my brain. No, I felt those thoughts as true extremely in my body. Okay. So I wrote down, I have to be someone else for them to like me. I'm not good enough. I feel so sad. If they saw me, they would not want me. And I wrote down, I'm a mess. I feel sad. And I felt these thoughts so fully, if you were to feel them, they would feel 10 out of 10. I felt ashamed. I felt sad. I felt not good enough. And it felt so heavy, right? And so then I realized, I'm a life coach, and there are people out there who might think I have it figured out. I must tell them it's not true. And it's not true in a way that, no, I haven't figured out how to not have those thoughts. And if you are listening to this and you're like, I don't even know what my thoughts are, I don't think I think these. For the most of my life, I had these thoughts subconsciously. I didn't even realize I had them. All I had was the heavy feeling, and I didn't know the thoughts behind the heavy feeling. Now I can find these thoughts easily, and I'm more familiar with them, and I can, because I've seen them over and over every day, it's easy for me to see them as thoughts. But if you are listening and you're like, I don't even know if I have them, do you have the heavy feeling? Do you feel not good enough? Do you feel bad about yourself? Do you feel shitty? Like, if you're like me, if you're listening to me, you might have those feelings. And my bet is that there's something along the lines of I'm not good enough behind that doesn't even feel like a conscious thought, but it feels like the truth of your life. Trust me, I've been there. I've just gotten really good at seeing them as thoughts in my head and taking them out, putting them on paper, looking at them, feeling the feeling, and then attributing the feeling to the thought. I'm just really good now at recognizing, oh, this is not the truth. It's not like it's true that I'm not good enough. No, it's just something that when I believe it, I feel shitty. Okay? So I want to give this message to you today is that no one else has it figured out. Some people are just better at hearing this garbage from our default brain or feeling it and then answering that brain back or deciding on purpose what we want to think about ourselves. Like I heard this once that they took an interview from one of the Olympic athletes or somebody who won a lot of athletic events. I think it was a swimmer who won a lot of medals. And so they asked him, what is the secret to your success? And he said, I just talk to my brain more than I listen to it. Okay, so I'm going to say that again because that really stuck with me. He talks to his brain more than he listens to it. And that's why, because when we listen to what our brain feeds us by default, like on autopilot, that is not nice stuff. It is totally, you would never win anything if you just kept on running the default autopilot stuff from your brain. You cannot do this, you can't do it, and you're not good enough, you're terrible, you're ugly, right? It goes on and on. You would not get anywhere if you just listened. So that's why he would talk back to it. No, I can do it. I'm going to try. I keep going, right? He would motivate himself with his own brain. He would talk back to himself with his more conscious, on purpose brain talk, right? And that is the difference I would believe for me now as a life coach and me before I was a life coach. Right now, I'm just good at seeing what's there and answering it back. No, I am good enough. Or this is just a thought. I don't have to believe it. This is all like nonsense. I'm not going to believe any of this. These are all just thoughts that I don't want to believe. I want to believe that I am fully capable of doing anything I want to do. And of course I'm good enough. Of course I'm good enough to be a life coach. Of course I can help others. And of course everyone would love me if they saw me, right? This is just something that I am practicing and I've gotten good at doing. So I want to offer to you that others don't have it figured out. Don't get the wrong idea. Nobody has it figured out. Everyone's default brain feeds them this stuff. I promise you. If you just ask them, they will tell you. And so don't feel like you are worse than others and others are better than you. That is just not true. It's just not true. We all have the same garbage in our brain. Some is just more intense. If we believe it, then we feed it with proof. Then we're like, oh yeah, you're right. I'm not good enough. Here, look at all these examples from the past. And then you believe it, then you feel like you're not good enough, and then you make it stronger, right? And others don't do that. Others are like, no. Let's just get back to the facts here. I'm not that terrible. Let's look at the facts, right? So please, 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 when you listen to me or anyone else, or even if, like, I've had clients tell me, it's not even like a life coach thing. It's like, oh no, it's just others out there, like their peers or friends, coworkers. No, they just have it figured out because they look like they have it figured out. Of course, look at Instagram, look at Facebook. They just look so happy, right? Of course, their brain's going to say they have it figured out. They don't. They really don't. I hope you believe me. Okay, that's the only message I want to tell you. So when you're feeling totally terrible about yourself, you have to remind yourself that, hey, I'm not worse than others. And my brain's working exactly the same way as others' brains. And they're now better off than me and they don't have it figured out. So I don't have to feel terrible on top of feeling terrible. I can just feel human, okay? All right. I love you all. Have a great week, and I love you. Bye.